Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all again. So yeah, on this stream, I am going to be working a little bit on getting the boss situated. So after you do your 15 traversals, there's a boss that you get automatically thrust into. A boss fight, I should say. And then I have a new boss card that I made specifically for that encounter. And I just have to make sure that the board gets generated in a sensible way for that fight so that it's difficult enough. So we're probably going to do a bunch of testing related to that. And what else? I think that's basically it. That should basically be it. So we'll see how it goes, and then probably we'll address a couple of other things this stream if that goes well. But before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is available for purchase. It's my first commercial release as a full-time indie dev. So if you're interested in 2D roguelite shooters, then definitely check this out. You might enjoy it. I also have my new Udemy course, Create a Complete Online Co-op Multiplayer Game in Godot 4. This will teach you all the essentials about making online multiplayer games in Godot. From remote procedure calls to the multiplayer spawner, multiplayer synchronizer, all of that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, that's linked in the description below as well. And I also have other courses. So if you're not particularly interested in a multiplayer, I have two other courses, one of which is in C#. So check those out. It's a great way to support me, and it's a great way to learn how to build games in Godot. All right. So here's the boss that I made. This is the mayor. This is a 2x3 card, and I actually forgot, what does the mayor do? I think the mayor just has a bunch of buffing abilities, which I'm also going to have to test a little bit, I think. But yeah, let's take a look here. Yeah, so the mayor here projects apply 10 fire, projects heal 5, and applies 10 preserve, which is shield. So yeah, I think that this is going to be... So basically the mayor gets placed in a guaranteed way on the board. So remember, we were working on wave function collapse to generate enemy boards. I modified that so that it can accept a list of cards that have to be placed on the board. And then the wave function collapse algorithm will take over after that. So essentially what will happen is the boss will be placed somewhere on the board. And then a bunch of extra cards will be generated adjacent to that card. So I have this configured so we actually get thrown into the boss fight immediately after one traversal. So we could test this very quickly. And here's a great example. So, ooh, that's actually perfect. Look at that. The prisoner is adjacent even though it has a weird shape. So yeah, so we end up with a board like this where we've got the mayor and then it's just buffing all of the other cards. So all the other cards that it's buffing are going to heal. They're going to apply fire. So in this case, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 40 fire that's going to get applied, which might be too much. And then it's going to also heal 20. So, you know, it's probably a little bit powerful, but it's also a 15 turn cooldown. So I think it's possible that you could win the battle before that 15 turns, but typically, I think the mayor's only going to go once or twice, so you just basically need to survive maybe 1 or 2 attacks from the mayor. But we're gonna balance this. But anyway, let's say hello to everyone first. Hello, Anykey, welcome back. Blair William, good to see you. Emerson, welcome back. Kenyaz, hello again. Hello again. Marcos, good morning to you. Angju Dev, welcome back. Great to see you again. If you go far with your new game, you can collab a boss from Gunforged. Yeah, true. Hello, Noah, welcome back. I could definitely borrow some stuff from Gunforged, I think, if I get far enough. Hey, the Ant, welcome back. All right, so I guess I didn't realize how far I was with the boss already. I don't know. My cat is making a bunch of noise in the other room. It's very distracting. 1 second. Okay, I think we're okay. All right. Such a beautiful game. What fonts are you using? The one for headers is so nice. It's Grandeur and Soft Square Mono are the names of the fonts. Welcome, by the way, Anna. Great to have you here. So what do I need to do with the boss? I guess it's just a matter of testing the boss fight, really. I think maybe the health... Oh, I know what needs to happen. Let's see. I think the board health needs to change. Right, okay. All right, so the base health needs to change. But yeah, there's some unreliable stuff here with the board size that needs to change. Every time YouTube tries to serve me an ad on mobile during a stream, it just goes to a black screen. Oh no, that's annoying. Hello, Hamachi, welcome back. Azabi, good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. Nikesh, good to see you again. So I think there's a couple of things. The health needs to change. Get enemy board health. Total difficulty. 1 plus growth rate, so 1.4. Total difficulty, so 2.5. I see. So let me just do this calculation real quick. So 30 plus 1.4 to the 2.5. Oh, did I do this wrong? I'm just doing the calculation in a different screen. Did I do that wrong? X raised to the power of y. Yeah, why isn't that working? The total difficulty is going to be 25 in here. Base board health. Huh? It's only returning 32 in my calculations. That seems wrong to me. What in the heck? Am I doing this wrong? Hold on. Oh, times. Oh, it's times. Oops. Okay, there we go. So that's not returning a very good health number. So I think what I'll do is I will probably just basically double the number. So in here, calculate board health. It can do up to 20% higher than the growth rate based on, well, just randomness, I guess. There's a lot of balancing that still needs to happen in here, but I think it'll be okay. So my combat configuration here, calculate board health. So this is the boss combat configuration. So var board health is equal to calculate board health, board difficulty, and then we're going to add a boss tax onto that. So we're going to do board health times equals RNG. Oh, you know what I just realized? Oh, never mind. We're good. I thought that maybe I wasn't passing in the RNG. We'll do 1.8 to 2.2 maybe. Floor to int. Alrighty. So what that should do is if I multiply by 1.8, that should make 125 health. And if it's multiplied by 2.2, it'll be 153 health. So we'll just have to play with that range, but I think that'll be okay. And we can assign this to board health. All right, there's not really much to do now except try a run and see how it goes. Hello, Vicious the End. How you plan your game ideas and what to do first, then what? That's a good question. I use a Kanban board for planning, roughly speaking, the tasks that I need to complete. But in terms of what to work on first, I mean, you just build up from the core mechanics, right? So you get your core mechanics working first and then start layering extra stuff onto there. I think it's it's less of a science and more of just like a feel kind of thing. I realize that's not very helpful, but I don't know if I can really put into words how I go about choosing what to work on next. A lot of the time it's just I get sidetracked by something that I'm interested in doing. So I go and pursue that and see what happens. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Lurking again. Chris, good morning to you. I have dynamic room loading working now. Very nice, very nice. Run away. What's run away? All right, let's plan this route here. So booster. I think what I might do. Oh, there's a lot of good ways to go. I'm gonna go this way, and then go around. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, let's do that. Let's do ritual cards. Oh, I still have this card. Let's just sell that, I guess. Okay. We've got the Medusa head. Very nice. Let's fight cat, barkeep, chicken. Projects to ritual cards. Deal 4 damage. I just realized that the cat... That's not right. I'm gonna go to the cat. Okay. I just realized the cat and the Medusa head basically are the same thing, even down to the turns that they take. Okay, that might need to change, but that's all right. All right, let's do this. This might be... I might actually get my butt kicked here. Let's see. Let's just see what happens. I need a different visual effect for this incense and other things like it. I think I'm gonna die. Yep, I died. Okay, well, the good news is that I can sacrifice some things and resurrect. Cool. All right, so let's do upgrade now. I'm gonna have to upgrade my skeleton as my only damage dealer. Hello, just subbed. I tried out Godot maybe a week ago because someday I want to make a game. It's hard to get into. Yes, it is very hard to get into, especially if you're new to game dev. So don't be too hard on yourself. It's definitely hard. But welcome, Smesky, and thank you for the sub. What's your Godot UI that looked neat? It's called the Minimalist theme, Godot Minimalist theme. Hello, Snupbill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that. Always, always appreciate it. And we have Yummers. That's a lot of IDR, yeah. Thank you, Snupbill. Always appreciated. Yummers indeed. Why all var? It's just less verbose. There's no reason to specify the type when the type can be inferred from the right-hand side of the operation. It just ends up being verbosity for the sake of verbosity. Hello, Rin. Welcome. Great to see you again. Variables are cool, I'm assuming, yeah. What did I miss? Not much. The stream just started. Welcome back, Cool Modder Jaden. Boss time, yes. Worky Tookie. Welcome, welcome. All right. Yes, Yummers. Okay, let's go to the next fight here. These boards are tough. I still need to do some balancing on this, I think, but let's see. I died again. Okay, I already lost this run. Very cool. Let's try again. Let's try again. All right, a shop, which is not going to be useful because I don't have any money. Enchant card, board size, arming sword torch. That one seems doable. Maybe I hit the enchant, board size, go this way. Yeah, let's do that. Enchant. Oh, I still have this. Ooh, echo. Yep, we're doing echo on that one. So that card will attack twice now. Increase that board size. I should be fine here. Yeah, I think I'll be fine. Although the torch is doing quite a bit of damage. Okay, we won. Cool. Let's enchant again. Oh, another echo. Nice. This skeleton's going to be doing 8 damage 3 times. Oh, never mind. I'm going to upgrade it now. Already off to a good start. Deal 12 damage 3 times. Oh my gosh. We get another increased board size. Here we go. Booster. Minion cards. Oh, Phoenix. Viper. Sweet. I'm already going to be doing massive amounts of damage here. Oh, but we could alchemize something. We could alchemize something. Let's alchemize the Phoenix and the Corvid together. There we go. 8 damage, apply 20 fire. Let's do it. Bam. All right. That was a good alchemy. Booster. Let's do some relics, I suppose. Okay, we got a heal now. We also have the Gorgon head, which will probably be useful at some point. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be doing ridiculous amounts of damage now. Yeah. Okay. I could just fight a bunch of combat encounters now. I don't think there's a reason for me to go and do alchemy. So I might swing and get this booster here. And then just try to hit as many of these combats as possible. So I get some more money. Let's do ritual cards. Dowsing rod. Ooh. I'm gonna want... Is there an alchemy that I can get into now with that dowsing rod? Oh, I'd have to backtrack a little bit. I've got 4 moves left. So I can do this, and maybe hit that and that. Let's do that. Oh, this is gonna be an easy one. Goodbye. Get smacked. That skeleton is just doing massive amounts of damage because of those echoes that I got right off the bat. Yes. Okay, that board was a little bit more tough, but still made it. I can upgrade the card now. So here we're going to go into the boss fight after I upgrade this. So this is going to deal 16 damage 3 times. Wow. Oh, but this is a tough board. Okay. It might be a good thing that I'm this powerful. Well, before we click the button, place your bets, everybody. Place your bets. Am I gonna win this? So I've got a skeleton warrior that's gonna deal 16 damage 3 times every 6 turns. I've got this Corvid here that's gonna apply 8 damage and 20 fire twice, or 2 executions. I've got a Viper that really doesn't do that much, 5 damage, 2 poison. But then over here, we've got a Mayor that projects 10 fire to all cards, all adjacent cards. Heal 5 to all adjacent cards, apply 10 preserve to all adjacent cards. We've got a Windmill, which is going to reduce the remaining turns of adjacent minion cards by 3. So that's going to accelerate the Mayor a little bit. It looks like that's the only synergies we have here, and the rest is just damage from these villagers and stuff. So place your bets. Let's see. Oh, is that right? Cool, Modern Jaden. That's good to know. This game is so hard. Who made this thing? Yeah, seriously. Water belly, the 2 words mixed. Yes. Awab, welcome, welcome. Random idea. Maybe make it more obvious that the alchemy only results in 1 card. It looked like you could take all 3. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point for sure. He Is Coming is a really good auto battler. You should check out sometime. I actually did buy it. I played like 15 minutes of it, so I have to play more of it for sure. Easy win. You think this will be an easy win? No way to win. You got it. Okay, so we got some mixed signals. In Skelly, we believe. Okay, I think I'm gonna win. Death. Here's my prediction. Good morning, Schlurgy. Here's my prediction. I think I'm probably gonna die because I don't have a whole lot of health. So I think I'm probably gonna die, but we have to remember that there's the resurrection mechanic and I have enough cards to sacrifice for the resurrection. So I think what's probably gonna happen is I'm gonna die, but on the second try, I'm gonna win. Azir, you can't be annoying now. I'm streaming. I'm streaming. No one wants to hear cats. No one. Nope. No one wants to hear it. I'm streaming. I'm streaming. Okay, let's go. We'll slow down the combat a little bit, make it a little bit more fun to watch here. Am I gonna die? I won! I won, first try. Okay, I was wrong. First try. This game definitely needs a lot of balancing, but, you know, it's okay. But it did, I think the only reason I really did that well is because the skeleton has such a low turn cooldown and it does massive amounts of damage already. So I just got lucky with those echoes. If I didn't have those echoes, this would have been a much different story. So, you know, the only way to really be sure is to test it a bunch of times. What VS Code theme are you using? Dracula. A the Ant was correct. A the Ant was correct. It's time for game dev once again. Yes, indeed. I want to hear the cat. Okay. I'm thinking of a card that's like mind control that would cause the opponent cards to hit themselves for the next attack. I do have something like that written down. I just haven't done that yet, I mean. Untrue, I love to hear cats. Yeah, I usually like hearing him too, but you're very distracting when I'm trying to stream. You're very distracting. I'm trying to stream, buddy. I'm trying to stream. I know. Started using Git for my project, man. I love it. Awesome. Yeah. Glad to hear that. Yeah, you should definitely be using some form of version control. I want to hear cat. Okay, I guess I'm the bad guy here. I'm the bad guy. Emerson, yeah. Guys, don't encourage the kitty, yeah. Cool. Need to get a cat cam that's just pointed at a bed. Yeah, I should. Game should definitely get harder as the rounds progress. Yeah, I think so. The problem is that because of the way the map generation works, maybe the combat encounters aren't scaling properly. So because the map is pre-generated, there's no specific order in which a player is going to encounter combat encounters. So this may end up being a deeper design problem, but basically what I'd have to do is reduce the difficulty of the initial combats, which would, the only way I can do that, because there's no guaranteed order, right? The player can enter combats in any order. The only way I can really control it is like the combat encounters that are closer to the start node are weaker, and the combat encounters that are farther from the start node are harder. But that's kind of tough to balance too, because if I skip the beginning early ones and I go and fight the harder ones after I gain some power, I can come back and just stomp the early ones, which may not be a problem. But I'm almost thinking about like, maybe, see, I don't know about this. I'm just kind of spitballing, but I'm kind of wondering if I should just remove combat encounters from the board entirely, and the map only consists of upgrade events. But as you're traveling around, like combats are triggered automatically as you're traversing the map. The problem though is that, yeah, it would kind of, yeah, there's also the consideration about seeded runs. So I don't know. I have to play around with it. There's definitely a lot of work to be done. Doing bosses today. Yes, we are. What you're looking at right here is the boss board. So this mayor right here, this is an enemy type that can only be encountered during the boss fight. It will not generate on any other combat boards prior to the boss fight. And he just provides a bunch of buffs to all the nearby cards. Cat, yeah. Is there a combat log or a way to see the stats of the fight? That is going to be coming later. Probably won't be available for the playtest, but I do want to do a combat log for sure. And post-fight stats would be interesting as well. That does sound interesting, the combat encounter stuff that I was talking about. I think having combat spaces is better, allows money, and gives more opportunities for different runs. Yeah, it also preserves the seeded run aspect, where if you want to share a seed with somebody, they'll get the same exact map. So the other thing I was considering doing too is borrowing some ideas from He Is Coming, and instead of making the map just like a single screen, 15 or whatever nodes, I could make the map more sprawling and have it scrollable. I think somebody suggested this. The problem is that that wouldn't, like, I could just have the entire game's map generated up front, and like you just work your way toward the end castle or whatever. But I would have to rethink some of the bits about this game, I think, to do that. But that would be kind of compelling. Anyway. You know, I could keep... So if I wanted to make an open, sprawling map, I could keep the node traversal stuff the way I have it now. Where every 15 traversals, you trigger a boss fight. And the boss fights get progressively harder. So the more you move around the map, the harder and harder the boss fights get. So it almost becomes an optimization problem of like, you know, you want to get as many upgrades as possible without increasing the overall difficulty too much, because then the final boss fight might be too hard. You know what I mean? So there's still a lot of room to experiment with the design of this game. I would say that nothing you see here is final necessarily. So I've got a lot of things that I want to experiment with, but right now we're just working towards a playtest. We're going to gather up some feedback and see what everyone else thinks about it. I definitely think that there are weaknesses to the current design that may be fixable with just some numerical tweaks, but I think there might be some more fundamental design issues here that need to be reworked or rethought. But I think the good news is that I can feel the fun. Like when I get that upgrade, like I got 2 echoes on that skeleton, I was like, I felt the dopamine hit. I was like, yes, this is going to be great. You know, when you hit an alchemy that mixes 2 properties together perfectly, it's like, oh, that's awesome. It's like an immediate power spike, you know? So that part is definitely feeling good. It's just a matter of like, what is the gameplay experience that wraps those moments that I have to think about? And what I have here is not necessarily bad either. It's really fun actually to like plan my route, and depending on how my upgrades go, I can like fork off into a different path that I wasn't originally intending to go down. So anyway, that's just a lot of me thinking. In Slay the Spire and Darkest Dungeon 2, I would intentionally pick combat to get the next reward, to get the combat reward. Okay, so combat events could be expanded or integrated into other events if possible. I see, okay. Yeah. So bosses aren't one single card per se, but instead unique cards that can buff surrounding ones. Yeah, so the idea that I'm having for bosses is that there will just be boss cards that can only be placed on boss boards, or that will only be placed on boss boards. So the way I'm thinking about it is like the mayor is a guaranteed card on the first boss, unless I add other bosses. But the mayor is a guaranteed card as of right now. And then the rest of the cards that get generated on the board are going to be random. That would be fun having one huge map. I think so too. Derek, hey dude, just bought your MP course yesterday, but it was over midnight, so I'm going to start it today. Awesome. Let me know how you like it. Should really have a Discord for your fans to interact with each other with you. That's the plan. I think when I release the playtest for this game, I will be launching the Discord and also maybe Patreon/YouTube memberships at the same time. So I just want to do it like all at once, you know? You should play more if He Is Coming, but yeah, a bigger map would be cool. The Great Levine, welcome back. Kelso, good to see you. Good to see you again. All right, let's do another run. Azir, what are you doing? All right, so I think one thing that I'm noticing is that I don't think that there's enough differentiation between the easy combat encounters and the hard combat encounters. I don't think that the numbers are different enough from each other. So that might be something to address here, but let's just wander around for a little bit. Lots of boosters that way. 2 alchemies that way. So what I can do, since I'm going to have a lot of cards from these boosters, is I can go this way, get those boosters, come this way, and then do those alchemies. And then I can hit these enchants. Ooh, okay, let's do it. Get that increased board size right off the bat. Go to this combat encounter, which, oh, you know what? Hold on. I'm not really able to accurately test this because I'm not starting the player with the proper cards. So let's start with the actual cards. Okay, so 2 Skeletrons. So what are we doing here? We've got an upgrade immediately. Probably we'll grab that one. So if we do this immediate upgrade, we go... Actually, I could do it the other way. Yeah, let's do this immediate upgrade. Hit that combat, hit that booster, hit that enchant. And then I'll probably go maybe this way. I don't know. Let's go to the upgrade first. Just upgrade one of the Skeletrons. Okay. Prayer Bead, Stein, Chicken. I think this is going to be okay. Oh, I just got hit for 20. That prisoner actually... The prisoner... Oh, no. Oh, the Stein is buffing it. Oh, no. So it's got a 50% chance to miss, but a 30% crit chance. That guy hurts. Oh, I might die. No, I'm good. Okay, booster. Yeah, I think it will be awesome to find Dottie. Good to know. Can't wait to join your Discord. Learned a lot about Godot with your videos and courses. Struggling now to figure out how to do 1 to 4 players multiplayer peer-to-peer via Steam. Oh, I see. Are you, did you take the multiplayer course? I forgot, Derek K. Or are you doing the multiplayer stuff separate? Contains minion cards. Let's do weapons. I really don't like this art. That needs to change. Okay, enchant card. Oh, we got another Echo. Echo is an insta-buy. That's an Ox 4. That's an Ox 3. So maybe what I'll do is I'll go this way. Thank you. This run is already feeling harder, but I still got some room to go, so... Okay, that was a lot of blood for some reason. Anyway, into the shop we go. Let's see, we can purchase... Booster packs offer 1 additional option. That would be good. Let's see. Alchemy. An upgraded skeleton. For 8 blood? Alright, I'll take that. We can do another upgrade. That would probably be worth it on the Echo skeleton. Okay. I feel like the Iron Gauntlet isn't powerful enough. It's like not attractive enough. I might just buff that right now. You know what? I'm going to make it 4 instead of 2. Why not? Okay. Let's enchant. Let's enchant this guy. I feel like I have way too much money, but that's okay. Let's do the turn cooldown reduction. Why not? Put that here. Might as well spend all my money. Oh, you know what? This is going to be a little bit risky, but let's do it anyway. We'll alchemize those 2 things together. Ooh, perfect. Got a perfect roll on that. Excellent. So now this skeleton is going to deal 12 damage, 10 damage, and double the damage if there's an adjacent minion. So I've just got like a skeleton elite duo here. Wow. Oh, I should have saved some money for the health upgrade though. I guess I guess I'll just take that. Booster. Just bought it. Going to start today after work. Gotcha. Backpack battles meet Slay the Spire. Very cool idea. Yeah, I think it's kind of like that. Yeah, and then also The alchemy system is, I think, the main differentiator between those kinds of games, where you can like, so the alchemy system, if you haven't seen it work or you don't understand quite how it works, you combine two different cards together, or two or more different cards together in an alchemy station, and it outputs a random assortment of cards that have a random assortment of all the inputs. So it will randomize the enchantments, it will randomize the crit chances and crit multipliers, it will randomize all the abilities. And so that's how I got a skeleton that has this. This is the axe ability. This deal 10 damage, double if damage if there's an adjacent minion. So I alchemized this with the axe, and I luckily, as an output, got a pretty powerful skeleton here. So the alchemy system is definitely going to be the big differentiator here. Mausoleum key. That and that. Okay, board size increase. That's going to be very necessary. Should I put another skeleton on the board? No, I should probably put that on here. Get some defensiveness. Okay, booster. Minion cards. Let's do minion cards. Ooh, slime. Let's do Phoenix, Salamander. Guess we'll keep going. Enchant. Let's throw another enchantment on my powerful skeleton. Increases critical. Actually, I think I want critical chance. Yeah. Okay. All right, into the combat we go. This is a tough board, I think, but let's see how it goes. Oh, never mind. This throws a wrench in at any cookie cutter build, right? Since the results are so varied, you need to learn to improvise. Love that. Hate games that are easily solvable. Yeah, I think that... yeah, the whole point is that you're not going to be able to beat this game unless you're enchanting cards and alchemizing things. Like, I think that's the goal. Anyway, is this Gunforge? No, this is an as of yet unnamed new game that I'm making. But welcome, Snow Hornet. Great to see you. Welcome, welcome. Let's do some alchemy. Since these are 1x1s, I would be curious to see if I can get away with this. Let's alchemize this key with the Phoenix. And we might as well throw this Salamander in there as well. Or maybe, well, let's do it. Oops. I lost the Phoenix ability in that alchemical transformation, so that's unfortunate. But this one has fire damage and is basically the same key as before. Although this one has a 15% crit chance. Now let's do the fire one. Well, I wasted a Phoenix, I guess, but that's okay. I have 17. Let's do the health increase. Okay, boss time. Let's see what happens. Heal 20. Oh, gosh. Well, let's see what happens. This is going to be bad. This is going to be real bad. The boss is going to heal a bunch. Oh, okay, I won. Sweet. Very nice. So I think there's some work I can do here for the balancing. What's this game about? This is a collectible card game grid inventory management auto battler with a necromancy, alchemy, and medieval science theme, where the hook of the game is that you can alchemize cards together, which means that you can combine the abilities of many different input cards into a single output card. That's basically as narrow and descriptive as I can get the game elevator pitch to be at the moment. Okay, so some tweaks here. Let me play around with some numbers. So I think I have project settings. Run map statistics will enable those. Combat configuration. Let's change the health. Get enemy board health. Let's up the growth rate. Maybe reduce the base health. And then I want to change the statistics here. Well, let's just see. Let's just see how this goes. I also want to change the currency gain here. All right. Let's run some statistics. What would be endgame player board size? How do you start 2x2 and then 2x3? How big would it get at endgame? I'm thinking somewhere around like 8x8 would be end game size. So that would be what? Is that 64 cells that you can fill? But maybe 10x10 is even possible. All right, let's look at some statistics here. Min board difficulty, max board difficulty. Why is that so high? Min currency, max current. What? Average currency is 0. Total currency is 0. What? Did I break something? Did I break something? I don't understand. This is a nightmare. I wonder if I should just simplify this dramatically. Kind of feel like I should simplify this. Oh, this is a nightmare. I wonder why my currency was wrong. I don't understand. I'm having a lot of trouble creating event-driven things for my game. Do you have any tips on when to use signals or C# events and how to structure the code for it? Well, personally, I don't use C# events because I don't like to duplicate observer. I don't like to duplicate stuff that already exists in the code base. So like, to me, it's like, why would I use two different observer patterns when that could introduce some variability or unpredictability into the system because of how differently they operate? So I just stick entirely to Godot signals for my Godot games. But yeah, so when to use signals. So there's a couple of guiding principles. So one guiding principle is that you should strive to make your scenes runnable in standalone fashion, which means that if you just clicked this run current scene button, the ideal state is that that runs with no crashes or no reference errors or anything. And the reason why that's a good sort of guiding principle is that tells you that you're creating standalone scenes that don't have any dependencies, right? And that is, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. The reason why having no explicit dependencies is a good thing to do is because then that means that the only way that you can really get information in and out of a system is through signal communication or other, explicit configurations. So when I'm making a player class, like in Gunforged, for instance, like the player is responsible for generating all kinds of events like bullets fired and creating bullets and all this stuff. But I got to the point in Gunforged where if I just ran an empty scene with only the player, it would work. Even though there's all these other systems that depend upon the player was made in a modular and isolated way where it's basically just emitting a bunch of events. And then the events are listened to in other parts of the system. So I think if you kind of like adopt that frame of like, the scenes should be modular, they should have minimal or no explicit dependencies, and they should run without error if you just run them by themselves. I think that is going to cause you to think a lot more in an event-driven way. But yeah, I don't know, it's kind of a hard question to answer. It's going to come down a lot to experience too, but generally speaking, anytime you need information from inside of a scene to somewhere else in the game, that should be happening via signal. You definitely don't, I think, want to store long-lived references to things like the player or other nodes that can be transient or removed from the tree or freed or anything like that. So I don't know if that helps, but hello, K-Man. Did you play any of the Bazaar for inspiration for this? Yeah, the reason why I wanted to make a game like this is because I had so much fun with the Bazaar. I didn't like the asynchronous multiplayer nature of it. I just don't like multiplayer in those kinds of games because it's way too sweaty, I guess the kids say. It's like at some point it stops being fun because everyone's like optimized the heck out of the game, right? So I was like, well, this would be a really fun game if it was a roguelike, if it was a single player experience, So, but anyway, yeah, that was a big inspiration. Can you draw a judge scale like he's balancing a gold of life? That's a good suggestion, yeah. Will I become a top fan if I spam? Not if I mute you, okay, man. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, just don't spam too much. Be a little bit cautious. I know that you're mostly joking, but hello, Ito Makes Games. Welcome back. I know it would be out of scope, but because you have tiles for minions, what if a minion was only assembled by a corrupted minion placement, like a Frankenstein character? Ooh, like the minion is not enabled until you place something next to it. That's a good idea. Coming from God of Weapons, a very nice that is backpack battles meets Vamp Survivors. Has a tier system, but a lot of the player power comes from adjacency bonus. But that requires bigger board from the start, allowing each individual item to not be too strong, but together with the right adjacency bonuses carry the game. That might be the approach that I have to take eventually. But I do like the idea of individual cards, because like the way that I want this game to work is like, you can go two routes for power. You can make your board as big as possible so that you can put more on it, or you can go all in on like a handful of cards being really ridiculously overpowered. I think that allowing both of those things to happen, or maybe, yeah, either independently or at the same time would be interesting. I do not use Godot signals as much as possible because they do not allow non-variant data. Yeah, in the case that you need non-variant data, what I usually do is I wrap the non-variant data in a class that extends ref counted, and then I emit that class, a class instance, which is a little bit more overhead, I guess, but... Uh-oh. Send data down, events up. Yes, that's a good way of thinking about it. I'm the toppest fan. Actually clarifies a lot for me. Yeah, you're welcome. Hello, Joel. Welcome, welcome. Build wide, build tall, like in Civ, yeah. I think it would be interesting to allow the player to choose which way their board grows. So if they want to just grow it purely horizontally, they could do that. haven't added that yet because it doesn't really have a gameplay purpose, but it's a similar card idea I suggested a while ago that I forgot about. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I just can't. If I don't write it down, I'm probably not going to remember it. Probably not going to remember it. Hello, Lincoln Pepper. Welcome back. Great to see you. So I'm kind of curious why this isn't working. Why is the total currency 0? Min currency, max currency. Am I not adding up total currency anymore? Oops. Oh, I guess I never was adding up total currency. Okay. Oh, I see. I got you, Derek K. Sorry, I did not get that at first, but I got you now. Did you make the art yourself? Yes, I did. I chose the color palette from low spec, but all of the pixel art I've done with that color palette has been by me by hand. Average board difficulty. Okay, this is getting out of hand. So here's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna rework my balancing again. I'm just not happy with how the balancing is feeling. So I'm gonna take a slightly different approach. Right now I am, I'm gonna change this a little bit. So right now, the way I've oriented this balancing is that level 1, all of the combat encounters is going to be balanced around a base difficulty of 10, and that number is just like, it's a meaningless number. It's just a number, but it's kind of like a signpost number, I guess you could say. It's like 10 is going to represent the sort of appropriate board difficulty for level 1, and then all the rest of the code is just about adding variance to that. So combat nodes that are closer to the start are a little bit less difficult than difficulty 10. Combat nodes that are farther from the start are a little bit more difficult than difficulty 10. But roughly speaking, the average difficulty of level 1 should be like around 10. The problem with that is that doesn't create... It's not creating a very interesting difficulty curve, I don't think. So I'm going to reorient this a little bit, I think. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make the difficulty explicitly based on the distance from the start node. And then I will adjust the curves for everything else. So what I'm thinking is that it'll be an increase in difficulty of 10 per an increase in 1 unit of distance from the start node, so 1 jump. So that means if the combat encounter is minimum of 3 nodes away from the start node, then it's going to have a base difficulty of 30. And then I'm just going to reorient all of the calculations here to make that a little bit more sensible, I guess. So this is going to be a back and forth that I'm going to have. But right now the game is just feeling like all the combat encounters feel roughly the same, even if they have different health values and slightly different board sizes. The only combat encounter that feels really different is the boss. And the reason for that is because I'm massively upping the boss's health, and also the boss's board size is a lot bigger than usual. So I think if I can get the difficulty curve looking and feeling a little bit better, it's going to be much better. I'd suggested meld cards, where if you place 2 predetermined cards next to each other, they would combine into 1 card that takes up the same area but is now permanently that new card. Oh, I see. I got you. Yeah, I can definitely still do that. Get this in front of somebody who doesn't know how to play. You as the creator have an unfair advantage, right? If the game feels challenging to you, it'll be impossible for most beginners. Yeah, I'm aware of that, for sure. And there is going to be a playtest coming up soon. I'm trying to decide if I want there to be a learning curve though, because one of the games that is inspiring this game is Raven's Watch. And Raven's Watch had a very steep learning curve. It took me many runs until I was able to even beat the first boss of the first level, and there's 3 levels in that game. But that was almost part of the fun, because it was like I was constantly trying to figure out like how to optimize and what to do and how to play so I could finally get to the boss, you know. But I could see that would be a turnoff. I don't want to make it too easy. The other thing too is that, you know, I've got the meta progression system, so even if the game's a little bit easy to start, there can be run modifiers that make the game more difficult. I don't know. There's a lot to think about for sure. When is it worth to upload a game on Steam? I'm going to upload my first game on Steam because I want to learn implementing Steam things. Can I be a playtester? When you upload a game on Steam, I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that question. It depends on what your goals are. Are you trying to sell the game immediately, or do you just want to publish a demo, or do you want to run playtests through Steam, or do you just want the Steam page up so you can start collecting wish lists? I think that it's always a good idea. I mean, Steam actually forces you to do this. You have to have your page up for a number of weeks before you release the game. So I would focus maybe on just releasing the page first, gathering wish lists if you're trying to make a serious attempt at selling it, and then release it later. But yeah, if you're just trying to learn Steam things, you can publish a game whenever. Doesn't matter necessarily. But you do have to pay a $100 application fee, so that's something to be aware of. Can I be a playtester? Yes, the plan is that anyone who becomes a member of the Discord will get playtest access, I think. I think what I'll probably do is, like, if I have YouTube memberships or Patreon, there will be a tier, maybe even just a basic tier, where if you're subscribed to that tier, you'll get like a week of early access to a playtest, and then the playtest will open up to everybody. So I still have to figure all that out. Lots of work to do. Hello, I don't know how to say your name. Chimera? I'm starting game dev, but doesn't know how to think like it. I have a player moving, a world working, but I don't know where to go, what to do, how to do it. Could you give recommendations? Yeah, it's hard. I understand what you mean. It's hard to know what to do next or how to proceed. But I mean, it helps. It would help to know what kind of game you're making. And maybe if you don't have a good idea of the game you're making, maybe that's part of the thing that you need to do, is like sit down and actually figure out what you want to add into this game. But let's say that you're making an action RPG, or you're making a top-down RPG, 2D RPG, and you've got a world and you got player movement, and there's just so much to do you don't know what to start with next. Then in that case, I mean, you kind of have to rank order things by importance to the game, right? So obviously having a world is important to a top-down RPG. Obviously having player movement is important to a top-down RPG. So I would say the next thing is probably having some kind of basic combat would be the next most important thing. But that's a subset, or that's a superset of problems, right? There's a bunch of smaller problems inside of the combat system, one of which is, how do I actually make an enemy with proper AI that can also damage the player and die? How do I spawn that enemy inside of the world in a sensible way? Am I going to do pre-configured spawns, or am I going to do a spawn system? And then that's going to naturally lead into things like, is there going to be a loot system? Are these enemies going to drop currency, or are they going to drop bones if they're skeletons or whatever? And then when you have a loot system, the next obvious thing might be, well, I have an NPC system now where I can accept, I mean, this game idea is getting way too complex, but I hope you understand like where I'm going with that. It's like, just try to identify the next most important thing to the game that you're developing, and then break that down into even smaller problems, and then tackle those one at a time. Since I know very little, how many levels are you planning? It's hard to say. My initial idea is that there's going to be 3 levels, but I don't know exactly what the final game loop form is going to take, so I don't know for sure. But meta progression going to make the player stronger or the game more difficult? I think it's going to do a little bit of both. I mean, one meta progression item I want to do is like unlocking more cards that can drop in the world or that can appear in the world. So that's just a player, that's not even necessarily a player strength, it's just increasing the variety. But I do think that there needs to be a way for the difficulty to increase for people that want a harder challenge. So those are like far out questions. I think once I have the basic like systems feeling really good, then I can kind of take a better look at how to basically extend the gameplay and the content. The $100 fee you have to pay for each game you apply or kind of develop license. Yeah, it's a $100 fee you have to pay to Steam to list your game, and you get the $100 back, I think, if you make $1,000, if I'm not mistaken. So it's basically just a way of filtering out low quality submissions. That Steam doesn't want to just become a storefront where everyone dumps their garbage. So they just charge basically a $100 entry fee that you get back if you make enough money. I'm actually making a basic 2D RPG with Godot. I have a path right now, trying to make a combat system, but it's hard to find a way to implement it. Yeah. Well, break that down into smaller problems, right? First thing you need is you need an enemy that can move around. So just do that first, right? And then once you have an enemy that's moving around, then you might want to expand into, okay, how do I make the enemy chase the player when the player gets close, right? Just one step at a time. Just take it one little increment, and you might have to refactor things as you do things in small increments, but I think that's part of the learning process. Software without a goal is not a game, it's an interactive art project. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so tell you what, we're going to rewrite some of this board generation logic here. We're going to try to make this game feel a little bit tighter in terms of the balancing, more difficult. So we'll take a different approach. I'll do that when I get back after my quick 3-minute break that I'm about to take. But in the meantime, yeah, check out the links in the description below. Those are all the ways you can support me. I'll be right back in just 3 minutes, so hang tight. See you very soon. All right, I'm back. I am back. Go with the PoE2 approach, nerf everything, set loose the playtesters, let us try to break the game and find broken combos. If too much stuff is strong, a lot of weird combos would get untested. Yeah, well, the nice thing about doing like single-player roguelike games is I don't necessarily even need to worry about the player becoming too powerful, and I can even encourage that as long as it's not like an every run occurrence that you just become ridiculously OP. But if it happens, like if you just get a broken build that just like kills everything in one hit, I'm not necessarily like, I don't think that's even a problem. As long as it's not consistently and reliably reproducible, then let the player have fun, you know, let the player every 1 in 100 runs or 1 in 50 runs or whatever, just get that stupid OP build that just wrecks everything, you know what I mean? Hello, Carto, welcome back. Always good to see you here. Hello, hello, hello. All right, let's rework some stuff here. Okay, let's do this now. So let's do var target difficulty is equal to run map dot get minimum distance to node from node to node run map dot start node. We're going to multiply this by, let's do this, private const int difficulty increment. Okay. Target difficulty is equal to RNG target difficulty. Yeah, so this target difficulty here, let's do maybe something like that. I actually don't know. Is there like a normal distribution calculator? Is this gonna work? Let's see. Specify parameters, mean is 10, standard deviation is 3. Oh, that actually looks perfect. I actually don't know what any of this stuff means either. So basically the way I want it to work is that for every so there's a distance between the start node and the combat node. That distance is the minimum distance, the minimum number of traversals that it takes to get to that combat node. So if it's 1, then what I want to happen is I want the difficulty to be generated in the range of basically, I guess what I would do is 10 to 20 or 10 to 19, I guess you could say. And then if the distance is 2, then it should generate in the range of 20 to 29. But I'm going to do a little bit, I'm going to add in like a normal distribution here to add some variety, which means that, so if I use a mean of 10, which is like the difficulty here, and I do a standard deviation of something like 4.5, then I'm going to have a relatively rare chance of that combat configuration generating very close to what the difficulty would be of a 2 distance node. But generally speaking, it's going to fall in the range of, I'm going to make this absolute value so it doesn't go negative, but generally it's going to fall in the range of 10 to 15-ish, I think. So if I do this, randfn, let's do difficulty increment 4.5. What I need to do is I need to do target difficulty plus, this needs to be mathf.absolute, so it can't go negative. Okay, we're going to try that. I guess this is going to just be plus equals. I'm a senior engineer. Anyway, target difficulty. So calculate board size. This is going to be the difficult one. I'll worry about that in a second. Get board difficulty. So the target difficulty here. So get board difficulty. Shoot. I'm gonna have to figure out how to... The other problem is assigning a difficulty score to a board. That's very difficult to do. Best example I know of is Noita. You basically die over and over without leaving the first 3 floors until you get a broken wand and one-shot all the bosses. Yeah, Noita is very crazy like that. I got really salty one time because I had a really good build going with Noita and I killed myself with my own wand and I was like, okay, I'm done. What are we calculating? I'm basically just trying to get the balancing working. It's a little bit tricky for the boards, but welcome back, Parallel Highway. Really admire the fact that you consistently work on the project every single day. Thank you, Karto. I appreciate that. The streams are fun. The streams definitely help me get into the vibe of working on the project. But yeah, it helps too that I'm actually really excited about this project. It's got a lot of problems, but I think that none of the problems are like... They won't prevent the game, like... They're not fundamental problems, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I think all the problems that the game has are solvable. And I think what the bones of the game are really good. So it's just a matter of figuring out those solvable problems so that the game feels and plays as good as it can. And I'm really excited about that because it's not like, you know, it's hard to work on a game when you've got like massive design problems that you're like, I don't know how to solve these. So when's the game going to be released? Hopefully before the end of the year. I don't... Noita changes you. Other roguelikes become relaxing lo-fi adventures after the 33 orb run. Yeah. That's funny. Alright, so calculate board size. I might just ask the AI to do this one. Maybe I don't need to do that though. Let's try something. I need a way of visualizing these curves. Let's see if I make a fool of myself with this tool or not. Okay, let's do 0.1 raised to the power of x. Nope, I did make a fool of myself. 1.1 raised to the power of x. Okay. Just trying to figure out a curve that can represent the board size variance. This is too aggressive of a curve here. One minus 1.01. Oops. Let's do the other way. So the idea is that, so 10 is like the difficulty per increment, right? So the first node away from the start node is going to have a very low chance of adding an extra cell to the board. But as I approach 20, it gets closer to adding an extra cell. As I get to 30, it's getting, so maybe this curve is not going as fast as I would like. So maybe we'll do 1.05 again. So at 20, it's at roughly 1.6, I guess you could say. 1.6 additional cells. And if I add some variation to that as well, that might work. 30, that's 3 though. That curve is probably not going to be good. Because as I get to 60, it's getting up to 10, roughly 10. Okay, so I'm going to need to figure out a different curve for that, probably. Don't ask AI. Board size, as in if the current board size equals 2x initial board size, then the board diff becomes a 2x multiple. Comparing current size to original will make it linear. That way, increases in size can only help if you make meaningful additions to the new space. If you just mindlessly increase the board without a plan, it would hurt the player. I don't know what this is in reference to, Derek. Right now I'm trying to figure out the board size of the enemy boards. But if you want to elaborate, I just don't know exactly what you're referring to, like what the 2x initial is. And the board diff becomes a 2x multiple. I don't know. Are there any math wizards in here that can help me flatten this curve a little bit? Because I like the way the curve looks early on. I guess it's just... So at 100, it's like 6. And at 10... it's too steep. I don't know how to draw curve. I don't know how to make curves. I was thinking it was the 2x2 board for the cards, like the player board. Oh, I gotcha. What in the world is this? This is a graphing calculator online. Try x2 or a finite sum of powers of x. You want me to raise this x to another power? Or just x? No, x squared is not going to work. I'm trying to come up with a formula that, based on the difficulty in increments of 10, will tell me, generally speaking, how much the enemy board size increases. So at 10, right, it's like 0.5 here. 0.48. So what that's going to translate to in the game is that increase the enemy board size by 0.5 cells, which is obviously not going to work because it has to be whole cells, but I'm just trying to come up with a sensible curve that as the board difficulty increases, the board size increases at a reasonable rate here. The problem, I think, is that this is still fundamentally exponential, which means that it's going to run away from me later on. So I just need like I like the exponential at the beginning, but I just need a flatter rise, I guess. I don't know if I want to keep the exponential, Joel. You're giving me too much credit for knowing what I'm doing. I just want the curve to be reasonable. Like, what I want to do is basically like, if I get to 100 here, it should be around 8 or 8 to 10. But I like the beginning curve here. Like, this beginning curve feels nice to me. I just don't know how to preserve that while also getting to that target value that I want at the end. That's where GPT would be handy. That's what I'm thinking. Hello, Damien. Welcome back. Yes, I want to increase the enemy board size in accordance with the difficulty value. I mean, maybe I should just do... Maybe I should just do I don't know, would linear work? Should I just make it linear? Maybe I should just make it linear to start. Thank you for the suggestion, Joel, but I wonder if I should just do linear, because if I just did... no, not 1 over x. X divided by 10. I might as well just make it linear to start, honestly. I don't think, maybe I don't need to overcomplicate this. Try square root x squared plus 2x or something like that. Square root x squared plus 2x. This had to be x over 10. It's definitely flatter. Maybe I should just make it linear. Look up Taylor expansion. Okay, I might look into that. Function e's an out sign number. Oh, interesting. I could just define a curve resource for this too, I guess. Maybe I should do that. Quadratic was my first suggestion. Oh, I see. I'm not a math expert. I gave up on my math minor in college. Square root x with some changes. Gotcha. Okay, these are good suggestions. Personally, I would use modulo, which I suppose would make it linear, only because I hardly ever worked with graphs. Well, you can make it linear with just x divided by 10, you know? Oops. X squared over 20. Oh, I'm assuming you meant in the square root operation that I had. Oh yeah, that's a pretty nice curve. Okay, I think we're just gonna go with linear. I can also, yeah, I can use a Godot curve, so I didn't need to do all this, I guess. And the stream became math class, seriously. I went the opposite way and ended up doing a PhD. No, it's okay. I'm just gonna do linear. I appreciate the help, Joel, but I'm not smart enough to understand that stuff. I think I could understand math if I put any effort into it, but I haven't put any effort into it, so I'm lost as to the suggestions being made, unfortunately. Okay, but anyway, let's just make it linear for now and see what that feels like. So calculate board size, so the target difficulty, we're gonna do this. Yeah, let's do min board size 2 plus 2 plus total difficulty divided by, let's do 15. Floor to int. Do I want to do 15? We'll try that. And then max variance will be total diff. Let's do this. Rand fn. Okay, let's do this. mathf.apps will make this 0. Do I want to make this absolute? I don't think so. I actually think I probably want to do rng.randfn there. Oh, maybe I do want to do absolute. Whatever, we'll play around with this. I think that'll be okay. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know. The whole point of programming is to make the computer do the math so you don't have to. Yeah, that's a good point, Horse Dev. That's a good point. Someday I'll go back and learn all that jazz, calculus and stuff someday, but not today. Today I'm going to make pixels dance and numbers go up. Yeah, see, the thing is, believe it or not, I actually took 3 calculus classes in college and I got A's in all of them. The problem, though, is that because the calculus was never practically applied, I have no idea what I was doing for any of it. I basically just like memorized the steps and the formulas for doing stuff. And then once I was done memorizing it and I was done with the class, I promptly forgot it all. Because it's like, I just don't think, it's not easy to learn something if you don't know what the practical applications of anything is. Like if you're not implying it in a way that you could see the obvious value, then I don't think you can learn it as deeply. So, it would be great to have better math skills, but oh well. Oh well. You know what they say, YOLO. YOLO means that you can just excuse any deficiency you have. Anyway. Calculate board size. Enemy board generator. Generate board size. Okay. So this get board difficulty, and now I need to change this because this is going to be very bad. Maybe not. Let's leave that alone for now. We'll see what that does. Calculate currency. I'm going to simplify this too. We're going to get rid of this additional difficulty. Total difficulty, percent increase. Total difficulty divided by 10. This one probably will not want to be linear, but maybe I can just make it a slower linear slope here. Maybe we'll want to add some kind of normal distribution here as well, but yeah, I don't know. Let's not make it too complicated for now. I'm gonna have to change the boss combat configuration too. Let's just see what that does though. I have the stats being generated so we can see. If I knew how useful matrix multiplications would be for graphics, I would have paid more attention. Yeah, well the other problem too is I took a linear algebra class in college and we did not even get through chapter 1 the whole semester. So that was basically a wasted class. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not salty. Okay, let's see. Game.log. Max board dimensions are 14. That's not right. Max currency is 193. That's not right. Average health is 3,000. That's not right. What in the heck is going on? Average board difficulty is 46. That seems right. Oh, I guess I didn't update the health calculation. That's probably why. Get enemy board health. Let's just turn this growth rate. Oh, this is still... This is an exponential curve here. I guess I'll just turn down the growth rate maybe. All right, well. Min health, max health. Why was there what? Huh? 100. What? 18 million was the max health? Something went wrong. Why does that seem completely... Oh, probably because the max board difficulty was 285 for some reason. What in the world? Oh, I think this needs to be probably 0 here. All right, let's run this now, see if we get some more sensible numbers. We definitely don't want a board with 18 million health on level 1. I don't even know why that happened, but something's wrong here. Let's take a gander now. Max health was 208. Okay, that's a little bit more reasonable. Average board difficulty 35. Average currency 22. Average health 56. Max board dimensions was 12. That seems a little bit high. Min board difficulty was 3. Max... Why am I getting 190 as the max board difficulty? Let me track another thing here. JSON property public int minimum node distance maximum node distance. This is going to be a little bit wonky, I think. Okay, let me just store this in here. Public int node distance. Let's do distance from start. This is just going to be easier for my testing purposes. Statistics, dot minimum node distance, maximum node distance. Okay, I just want to verify that this is working correctly, because I shouldn't have a difficulty of 190. I really shouldn't have a difficulty of 190 at all. So I'm curious to see what the node distance is. The node distance calculation may be wrong. I'm not sure. I had the AI write that, so it's possible. It's definitely possible. Okay. Yeah, so we got a max board difficulty of 196. When really the max board difficulty should be around 70. Also, this minimum node distance is 0. That should never happen. It should always be a 1. So that's a problem we gotta fix. Target difficulty. Oh, I wonder if I'm doing my statistics difficulty calculation wrong. Maybe that's what's happening. Ah. I'm just calculating the board difficulty here. I see. These board dimensions are completely off. So let's get that under control first. Let's get rid of this. Max variance, total difficulty divided by 10. Oh, that max variance is way too high. Just make this divided by 30 as well. I don't know, we'll try something like that. I'm enjoying this as a math enjoyer, that's for sure. Well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. You're enjoying me watch us struggle through this. I mean, yeah, if you have more suggestions, Joel, for anything I'm trying to accomplish, feel free to put them in the chat. I just can't, I can't guarantee that I'm going to understand what you're talking about, unfortunately. Well, let's see what this does. Okay, that's much more reasonable. Max board dimensions X, max board dimensions Y. Very cool. Okay. Average board difficulty. Where's the max board difficulty? 66. That seems more reasonable to me. Let's take a gander at what the map actually generated here. 84. Stein 3, chicken 2. Villager dog 5. Let me change some of the... maximum... Oh, no, that's actually perfect. The max board difficulty was 66. So that's actually perfect. I think I just need to change the way that the board difficulty is being calculated. Let's bump this up to 2 and let's bump this up to 3. I just don't, because there's a difference between like what the number ends up being in terms of the board difficulty and how difficult it actually is to the player. Why would you be coding that? Isn't distance calculations for node a built-in function? Oh, the node that I'm talking about is a different, it's not a Godot node. What I have is this map as a graph, but it's not using the Godot nodes. So it's using my own like node implementation. So the way that works is like I place my own nodes in the graph. There's a grid. So if you imagine this screen being subdivided, I think it's 6 columns by 5 rows. And then what I do is I choose a bunch of cells to place nodes into. Then what I do is I offset those nodes with a certain radius so they're not perfectly aligned to the grid. And then I construct a minimum spanning tree that goes from the start node and visits every node. And then I add in edges, back in edges, which that's why I needed the Delaunay triangulation. So the Delaunay triangulation creates triangles that connect all the nodes together. And then you basically remove any edges that are not part of the minimum spanning tree, and then you can randomly add edges back in to make a more interesting map. But anyway, the distance calculation is being done against that graph that I'm constructing. So how do you approach the art style and character design for your games? It's a good question. I don't really have a very sophisticated method. Typically what I'll do is I'll pick a color palette from low spec or something like that. And I think the art style kind of, it just depends on the, like, I'm not an artist, so I don't really know what I'm doing. So with Gunforged, I started drawing stuff, and like the art, like as I drew stuff and as I built up a library of art, I just roughly tried to make it so that I was applying the same techniques and doing the same kind of shading and all that stuff. And it's the same with this game. Like, I have the color palette, I started drawing stuff. Eventually I settled into certain personal rules about how I use colors and, you know, where I use black pixels for shadows and all that stuff. And then I just try to stay consistent. I just try to apply those rules to every piece of art. So it's not really like I don't sit down and say like, this is the process. I just, because I'm not an artist, I'm not sophisticated enough to be able to sit down and say, this is the art process, the art style I'm going for. I just start drawing stuff and kind of just like, once I have something I like, I just try to make everything else match it, if that makes sense. I'm afraid I'd have to delve deep into it. It doesn't look that simple. I gotcha. Trying to work with this as the background hasn't planned out as productively as I hoped. Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is why I should have paid attention in graph class and computer science, I see. Yeah, I mean, one of the most useful things you can know for game development, I think, is graph theory. I mean, that's essentially what the Godot scene tree is. It's a graph. You know, trees are graphs, essentially. All right. Did I run this again? I think I did, right? Game.log. Max board difficulty is 83. So yeah, I think the numbers are basically good now. Min health, the max health is a little bit wonky. I'm gonna have to tone that max health down. Average currency seems about right. Average board difficulty seems about right. These node distances, with the exception of this one. So I need to figure out why that minimum node distance. I think I'm just going to ask the AI for that one, but let's not do that right now. So I think it's just a matter of making this more difficult. So that, yeah, the boards are all being generated within the proper like difficulty parameters, but now it's just a matter of applying the proper weightings so that the resulting boards are actually like okay to fight. That sounds like a good one. That's an interesting one. Some of this I'm gonna have to do some playtesting with. I don't know why that's 45 health alone. Okay, so let's figure out a couple of things. What did I say? This minimum node distance has to be 1 always, so I don't know why that's not always 1. Minimum node distance. Max health is a little bit too high. So let's fix the max health. Calculate board health. I almost wonder if I should just do, instead of an RNG randef range, so this is a percent multiplier. I almost wonder if I should do plus equals rng.randfn. This has to be mathf dot absolute randfn 0. Let's do total difficulty divided by 5. I'm just picking these numbers. If you're wondering where I'm pulling these numbers from, the answer is from out of my behind. All right. So now let's figure out why this get minimum distance to node. I don't remember where that is. Seated run. What the heck? Oh, I think this is why. This has to be 1 here. So it's NQing, right? Oh, wait, is that right? Hold on a second. No, that should be right. Hold on a second. If neighbor equals toNode. So the way this is going to work is if I pass in a combat node and I say, oh wait, am I doing this wrong? Hold on. Yeah, so if my from node is a combat node and my toNode is the start node, this is never going to be true, so that we can skip that. It's going to add the combat node to this queue with a distance of 0. The queue is then going to have a length greater than 0. It's going to pop or dequeue that current node and distance. So this is going to be the combat node, this is going to be the distance. Then it's going to look at all the connections of the neighbor. If a neighbor can, if one of the neighbors is the node that we're trying to target, it's going to return distance plus 1. And if not visited contains neighbor, it's going to enqueue that with an extra dist. Yeah, so I think that's something subtle is going on in here. The only thing I can think of is if this connections is not bidirectional, which I think it is. Yeah, so this is bidirectional. So whenever I connect a node in my map data structure to another node, it gets added on both ends of the connection. So I'm not really able to see what's actually a problem here. Unless, is the start node somehow being generated as a combat node? I guess there's one easy way to test this, which is I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Edit breakpoint from node equals toNode. I'm just going to run this and just rule out very quickly that this is the problem. McDonald's today? Don't tempt me, Emerson. Don't tempt me. That makes sense as I'm struggling to get character design right for my project. The art stuff, yeah. Did this hit a breakpoint? Oh. That was the problem. How is that possible? So for some reason, the start node is both a start node and has an event type. Okay. Oh, I think I am doing something wrong here. Is the start node, the start node probably exists in this list of nodes. Actually, I can test that. Node. Are these ref counteds? Oh, they are. Well, that makes things a little bit more tricky. Yeah, but that is being added as a list of nodes. I see. Where is this being read? I see. I'm tracking the assigned nodes and I'm putting map.start node in there. The problem is that I'm just not excluding the assigned nodes from this line, which essentially filters down to all the combat valid nodes. So that's interesting. So sometimes I was assigning combat to the start, and that's why I was getting a distance of 0. Okay. So let's just fix that. Where not assigned nodes dot contains X. Okay, that should fix that. So I can stop this now. One more question. How do you handle your global constant enums? Well, in C#, like, handling global enums is relatively easy because, you know, you can just put them in a namespace and then use them wherever you need to use them. Global constants, I do have some global constants and I just put them in a gameConstants.class. The problem is I think you can go a little bit overboard with a global constants. So I try to keep constants local to the class where they're used unless I have a very clear situation where I need to use them in multiple places. So in this case, tile size is one of my game constants because I'm using that all over the place. Also, my input actions are global constants because I can do input handling across multiple nodes. And all the colors in my color palette as well. So yeah, I think having a game constants like auto load in Godot or a static class in C# can work well. You just have to be careful, I think, not to abuse it because, you know, constants should be located as close to the place where they're used as possible, I think. Okay, minimum node distance is 2. That's correct now. Perfect. Average board difficulty is 31. Yeah, so one of the tricky parts now. Let me think. I'm going to do this. So, yeah. So I changed the map generation so that combat encounters cannot be directly connected to the start node. So that kind of throws off my math a little bit. Private const int. So I'm just going to do an offset of -2. Or no. -1. Okay. Let's see what happens. In terms of GD script, can we do static class and GD script without auto load? I think so, yeah. I think you can. I think you can. All right, let's take a look at this now. Average board difficulty is 21, average currency is 13, average health is 45, max health is 143. That still might be a little bit high. Max currency is 48. Let's take a look at what these actually look like in game. This is still not feeling exactly correct to me. Let's bump this up and bump that up. And then if it's feeling good, we'll do a playtest. I read somewhere I need to extend object for that class. For a static class? I'm not sure if that's true. I mean, I'm a little bit rusty on GDScript. I didn't think that would be true, but maybe it is true. Alright, let's give this a playthrough and see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go this way. Increase board size. Alchemy. I'm unfortunately going to have to skip that alchemy. I think I will win this one. Maybe not. Why is that healing so much? Oh, it's a tier 3 prayer beads. Gotcha. Okay. We'll go fight this one now. Okay. Looking good so far. We'll do a couple of boosters here. More minions can never hurt. Another booster. Alchemical cards. This Alembic needs to be redrawn. This one projects heal to adjacent cards. So let's reorient some of this. Perfect. Look at that. All right. Cat 1 prayer beads. This Ox is going to deal 15 damage. Damage increases by 16. Oh gosh. It's going to deal 31 damage. Oh, yikes. Okay. We're good. We got through it. Dog 1 chicken prayer beads. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remove the turn indicator after a card executes so you can see which cards still have to go during the turn. I think that will help. Enchant card. Let's do a critical chance. I actually don't know. I guess crit chance doesn't do anything for the morale. I guess that was kind of a waste. Oh well. Increase my health. This one's quite a big board here. Ooh, this one might be tough, actually. No, I think I'm going to pull through. Nope, I did not pull through. All right. That's actually good. I was worried that I wasn't going to encounter any challenging boards. Can auto-resolve that. Okay. Upgrade a card. I want to upgrade this one. Okay. Another booster. Let's do alchemical. Another alembic. I'm just gonna sell these. These are useless. I gotta buff that card, I think. And then let's do this one. Okay. What is the boss gonna look like now? Oh, whoops. Guess I forgot to update the boss. All right, I think this is feeling better. I'm definitely gonna have to do a lot more work on this, but I think I like this approach a little bit better. Tweaked some numbers, made it a little bit more reasonable. Okay. All right, well, that's going to be it for the stream today. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. We got a lot done, mostly just balancing stuff. So didn't get to anything necessarily too fun, but you know, I'm trying to work toward a playtest, like I said, so that you all can have fun with this. But yeah, yeah, if you want to support my work, check out the links in the description below. I just released the co-op multiplayer course. So if you're interested in that, please consider purchasing that. That will teach you how to build a complete online co-op game in Godot. And what else? I think that's it. All the ways you can support me are linked in the description below. And I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for your support. And of course, thank you to the VOD watchers and lurkers out there as well. Very much appreciated. I may stream later today, but if not, I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you there. And this is GMTK Jam week, so I'll be doing several streams starting on Wednesday of me working on my GMTK entry. So hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live for those. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thanks again, everyone, and talk to you later.